Alrighty, so kicking off Devlog 6, I have already made a little bit of progress here. Let's go ahead and kick off the game here. Let's go ahead and turn the sound off. And one of the things that I've done so far is kind of rework this little menu here to allow for multi-hero selection. So now there's still only one hero, but if you select him, or whatever, one comes over here, and you're allowed up to 5. Any more than 5 isn't allowed. I have to add in error handling for that, but also, whenever there's multiple heroes, you can click the X, it'll get rid of them. If you're like, oh, I do want 5 or whatever, you can just add them in. I think I'm gonna make 5 heroes like really, really hard, is the goal. I think like base gameplay, you'll want like 1 to 2. But I think I'll allow up to 5 to kind of make it pretty dang hard, and then also add in some extra modifiers. So this screen's got to change. I imagine I'll adjust the scaling and stuff like that on it, but I think for now it works pretty well. So all of these heroes get put into an array that then gets loaded in whenever you start the game. And then there's a little bit of an adjustment from the previous thing. So there's still 5 up here, but that's because there are actually now 5 heroes. So as you switch between cameras for them, it will move you around to the different hero that's associated with that number. And it all works pretty dang well there. So I have yet to actually put their stats and stuff up here on their weapons that they're using, or actually add other weapons, but just getting all of this logic working was pretty rough because I still have to sort out like how the monsters are spawning, because right now it's just spawning across all 5 of these heroes' spawn nodes. So all I really have to do now is just kind of take the spawn nodes off of the heroes, which I've already done. I just have to link it up with the spawning script and just say like whatever hero is actively selected, switch spawning to that hero's spawn nodes. And I'm hoping that the intended behavior there will be like you can switch to hero 4 or whatever. The heroes will stay a little bit clustered until you start to like pressure them pretty good, because they're chasing the same stuff. So until you pressure them pretty good, they won't split up. And then whenever they do kind of split up, they will start to kind of come back to whatever hero you have selected. So the intended behavior here is that they will kind of stay clustered, and as you kind of force them apart, they will kind of stay in a certain radius of whatever hero you have selected, because they will all be chasing that same XP, and also targeting the same kind of monsters. So the goal there is to not have them get too dispersed, but I might have to add some more logic. We'll have to see how that goes just in practice as I do a little bit more testing. But balancing isn't yet. Right now it's just trying to get all this functionality to work. So the next step will be to, whenever I switch between the heroes, disable the spawn nodes of whatever other hero I had selected, also populate all of their stuff up here. I think I'm going to have to add another weapon and stuff like that to be able to actually get the functionality to look and work right. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with this right now. That parallax issue is still there, where I have like this gray bit for a period of time just because the camera zoomed out, but I also have to fix that. But I think that'll be part of the balancing and like tweaking pass. But as you can see, like I am still level 1. I did a massive spawn wave on them, and I still have yet to even get my first draft upgrade. And this is very unbalanced right now, but I do think I kind of want that level of difficulty for 5 heroes. So I finally leveled up after spawning in another massive wave. And I like that. I think 5 heroes will be the max difficulty. But now they all have, a lot of them have bounce, so it's basically going to become impossible for me to catch up with them. So I have to think about a catch-up mechanic as well. But I think that's it for this little bit of an update. I'm going to cut it here and then come back whenever I get a little bit more functionality in terms of an extra weapon, adding that in, and stuff like that. So I will see you guys then. Alrighty, so I actually think it's probably a couple days later at this point, but I have made significant progress. A lot of it is under the hood progress, but there are some very visual indicators of progress, which is really nice. So let's go ahead and take a look here at what's been done. So settings still broken, upgrades still looks like this. That's probably next on my list, is to kind of implement meta upgrades and whatnot, but for now, so new run, this screen looks similar but has a little bit of differences to it. So you still have your basic hero thing, the abilities now say none here, and just like a little flavor text. This is just your basic hero looking to make a name for himself. And then there's some icons here, and this defines the weapons that they have, which I actually think I like. Every hero will be entitled to 3 weapons. He only has 2 right now because A, there's only 2 in the game, and B, I don't know if I want to give the basic hero 3. We'll have to see. But if you hover over them, it'll tell you like a little breakdown of what the projectile is. So I added this axe, which is just thrown in random directions completely. It's kind of hilarious. I'm debating if I want to make it fixed thrown directions or not, because it's kind of hard to predict where it's going to go to send your waves. It does add a level of unpredictability. I don't know if that's good or bad. I have yet to decide. But still you pick your basic hero or whatever, and you start your run. I'm only going to pick one just for example purposes, and then we are going to listen to the music here for a second because I still have some more sound effects and stuff. Everything else is pretty much the same other than a few things that are under the hood. Also, if you hover over the weapons now, it does detail to you like, hey, this is how much damage it does, this is how fast it fires, this is the speed it moves, and these are the abilities that it unlocks. So you can see this one gets bounce +1 at level 2 and max level. So it kind of outlines to you the capabilities of each weapon. And so he leveled up, and that's one thing I have to work on, is making the sound not clip each other out. Right now, he unlocks the second weapon at level 2. That was kind of for testing, so I need to figure that one out. But now these swords should be bouncing, and they're not, so that's actually a problem that I need to look into, but it's probably just something I have configured on the back end wrong. But they should be bouncing or whatever, and then you can see the axes now flying out and doing damage as I think this guy's gonna get it. Oh no, I missed. Like, that's kind of the hard thing about the random projectiles, is you don't really know. You just don't really know if it's going to get a guy. But the axe just fires out randomly like that, does quite a bit of damage, fires quite a bit slower, moves quite a bit slower, but it grows in size 10% every level, so they do get pretty big by the end of it, which is hilarious. And they pierce, is another thing that I have added on there, so it doesn't stop whenever it hits an enemy, it just keeps going. So really a cool weapon in my opinion. The other thing, I just centered this upgrade panel. Thinking about changing the background of it, I don't know, we'll see. But let's just go ahead and do MP rate, and then let's just give ourselves a little bit of XP to kind of show off some of the other stuff. So I added in rats, which are exactly for what you think. I added in bats also. And then, well, bats have always been in, but now that we're level 4, we've unlocked the mid-level monsters, and there's only one mid-level monster at a time, and it is not showing up for us, so let's give ourselves more XP, and there he is. So he's a mid-level monster. So the orc is way, way stronger. So the rat is much faster than a bat, but it also has way less health and damage, but they move really, really quick. The orcs are really, really high health. 50 is a lot for the game right now. They don't move that fast, but they hit like a truck. A hero only has about 100 health. So an orc can take down a hero pretty dang quick, which is why I kind of level gated it behind, I think 5 is where you start to be able to roll for medium level monsters. Which, as you can see, if I didn't have the XP cheat menu there, that would have taken quite a while. Definitely still need a balancing pass, but they all work. So you can spawn in just, a whole bunch of rats. As you can see, they move extremely quickly, but the hero's he's pretty juiced up right now, I think. I don't actually know what level he is. I should probably outline that entirely. I kind of thought I was catching that with just the weapons, but just rats probably isn't going to be able to do it for him. Yeah, I don't know, they got him a little bit. Then you spawn in some orcs. Even just 5 orcs, he probably won't be able to kill any of them. Well, oh! Okay, definitely still needs some more balancing, because that's supposed to be like a game ender. But they're only 12.5, so, you spawn in 2 waves of them. Those axes just destroyed them! Okay. Alright, this is getting harder than I thought. I'm definitely going to have to work out a little bit of balancing for sure then, because this is one basic hero. These are mid-level monsters, but as soon as they touch him, yeah, it's game over. which game over screen is still something I have to implement. So game over screen, actually doing some math with the player stats tracking stuff that I have, because I do have a player stats thing on my planes level here. There is somewhere a player stats controller at level performance monitor. So I need to I have already taken all the information as things are being spawned and stuff like that. I might take in more information now that I have a little bit more time, and then calculate a score, use that to determine meta upgrades. I think that's going to be my next step. I think I'm going to add in a few meta upgrades before I update this demo and send it off to itch.io at the end of this devlog. I think that's the plan, because if all I have left is the meta upgrades, I should be able to do that within the next couple of days is the goal. So very happy with this. I will come back when I have some meta progress. See you then. Alrighty, chiming back in here. Honestly, it's hard to remember what all I've done. I've been working away for, I don't know, probably like a day now. There's a couple changes. So one of them, main menu has music now. Actually don't think you guys can hear it, but let me go ahead and toggle on desktop. So this has music now. There's a settings menu where you can do all your volume sliders and stuff. I haven't carried that over to the main game yet, but I probably should. You can delete your save game here if you want, because now saved games are a thing. You have your upgrade panel here, and it actually has all of the stuff that you can actually get and use right now. It all says 0, which is wrong, so I have to fix that, but you can actually buy these, and they do actually transfer in. I imagine the costs are actually correct on the back end. They're just probably not on the front end. Let's actually take a look. If we look inside the persistence script here, all that's okay. The meta upgrades panel has, yeah, so it's all there. It's just, it didn't actually update for some reason, which I guess makes sense. I was tinkering with this right before coming back here, and I was working on something else, but all the meta upgrades do work. I just have to actually implement them. Figure out why it's not updating this, because it was 5 minutes ago. I must have broken something doing this next bit. So the next bit is new run, all this stuff similar. Heroes now have like little icons here. I feel like I've already shown that. And then something else I've done is a tutorial. If you've already, if you haven't played the game yet, it just checks if you have any meta currency. If you have absolutely none, you get the tutorial. And you can either skip it or, read this little backstory here and step through the tutorial, which it just outlines, hey, here's all the stuff that you can do. Here's like what some of this stuff means. And then basically you can start playing again, which is all well and good. So I'm pretty pleased with that. And then also there's like some other things, like the hero has a hit flash now when he gets hurt. My cheat menu actually works. So I can give myself extra MP, anything like that, and just absolutely swarm him with people if I want to. There's a game end screen as well, and it does say 2 hero kills, which is also wrong, so I'm definitely not zeroing something out correct on the back end in the meta upgrades screen. But so there's actually a win state now. You get 1,000 points per hero killed. And then it's kind of outlined pretty clearly here. You get 1 point for every damage you deal. You lose some points for every monster you summon, etc. And as well as you get a multiplier based on how long it took you. The par time is currently 5 minutes. We'll see. And then it takes that total score and turns it into meta currency here. Literally, the test right before this video, it was working correctly. So it's kind of weird. I have to step through and figure out why it's showing 2 heroes instead of 1, because you should only get 1,000 points. So really, I should have gotten about 16 meta currency, but for some reason it doubled it. So we'll just have to check on that one. But if you go to the main menu, you see your meta currency comes in now. That number is also wrong, so I'm not sure. I think doing the tutorial bit must have messed up some stuff. But if you go in your upgrades, yeah, see it's showing now. I'm not entirely sure why, but you can actually buy this stuff now, and it plays like little sounds as well. But the desktop sound's off just because. But it will actually upgrade these amounts here. And then if you go into your new run, you start a new run, you actually start with some actual stuff here, which is awesome. And there's no tutorial because the game knows you've kind of already played a couple matches. So let's just take the hero out again. And then it showed correctly this time. I'm going to have to step through it and figure out why exactly it did what it did. But overall, as you can see, all this stuff kind of works. So 16.5, so we have 19.5 now. Which is good. So I got to figure out why exactly that did the way it did. So let's delete the game, start a new run, skip the tutorial because that's an option, kill the hero, 16.5, which is correct. Not sure what exactly happened, but overall the game has save states. I already did a few things, a whole bunch of stuff on the back end, but functionally it just has save states, meta upgrades are in, and everything like that. You can delete your save file. And there's a tutorial, and the hero has hit flashes and whatnot, so I think what I'm going to do is just do a little bit more polishing, tweak some sounds, tweak a little bit more, things just to make it a little bit more pleasant, maybe add a few more upgrades, not entirely sure yet, and then probably publish this to itch.io before I have to go on a little trip, and then just see what the feedback is. So if the game looks a little bit different than the end of this devlog, that's why I took a little bit more time and did some extra stuff. But otherwise, this should be pretty close to the end state that you're going to see on itch.io here soon. So I look forward to the feedback. See you guys then.